Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our live bi-weekly Dharma Talking guided meditation here at the Blue Lotus Meditation and Mindfulness Center. Thank you so much for joining us live tonight, or perhaps you're watching it on a replay. We're very grateful that you are spending some of your precious time with us. Tonight's a little fun, a little entertaining Dharma talk where we talk about Buddhism and The Matrix, that very successful movie franchise. But again, we'll get to that in a few moments. But again, welcome and thank you very much for joining us tonight. Today is April 15th. It's 6 p.m. here in the Central Time Zone at the Blue Lotus Meditation and Mindfulness Center. Thank you for coming in. Some brief announcements typically before we begin. We have some new offerings that we'd like to just share with you and bring to your attention. We have an in-person meditations on Monday mornings at 9 a.m., roughly about an hour. We'll do a little guided meditation and Dharma talk and so forth, just enough to get us ready for the week, right? Get us in a healthy, mindful mindset for the week. Our Dharma Institute, we have our meditation teachers training now is asynchronous. And so you can simply just register and do all the courses online if you choose. And there's always, with all of our classes, there's always live instructor support. So you're never left on your own with questions and whatnot. We're always here to help you and guide you. And additionally, we also have a mindful parenting class for our parents out there that may be interested in, teaching our children mindful ways. It's a necessary skill set and mindset, especially for today's youth, right? Especially as they get older. It's very hard. We also have our weekly sanghas, right? Our healing sangha, our veterans sangha, new beginnings sangha, a rainbow sangha, welcoming, and a teen sangha. They are weekly, right? So every day of the week, Monday through Thursday. I guess that's not every day of the week, right? 4 days out of the week. We have or 5 days. Friday mornings. You can join us for any one of those sanghas. Just simply register. There's no charge for that. So you just simply register and talk with us and meet new people. It's the relaxed settings and, nothing too formal or anything like that, but great place to, practice mindfulness and meet and socialize with other like-minded individuals such as yourself. And with that being said, summer's right around the corner. So our summer calendar is open. We have all of our retreats are posted on the calendars. The silent retreats, mindful walks, our teen retreat, couples retreat, and several other offerings are up on the calendar as well. And so on the web page itself, not on the registration page, but on the web page, it'll give you all of the dates. But we go in order for the registration, so the registration page doesn't get too bogged down or difficult to read. So you can see the next upcoming one, but you can always see the schedule and so forth. So we look forward to having you if you're able to make it to those in-person retreats. Excuse me. So before we begin, why don't we begin in earnest with the 3 jewels? And so I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. And so really before we begin, we always pay honor and respect to the Buddha, his teachings, and you, the Sangha. You're very important to the spiritual development, you being a member of our virtual Sangha, and perhaps in person if you're able to join us. So tonight's topic will be Buddhism and the Matrix. Right? Again, that's a very successful movie franchise. Let's begin with, or continue on with our guided meditation. So awareness of perception. Right? We all have perceptions, and those perceptions can influence, and oftentimes do, right? They influence our decision making and our understanding of the nature of reality. So this guided meditation will help maybe nurture a more wholesome perception, leading to good judgment and so forth. So let's begin by taking a moment to settle our body into a comfortable position. You may close your eyes or keep them slightly open with a soft focus, looking downward a few feet in front of you. Breathe in. Pause. And breathe out. You're warmly invited to allow a half smile to rest on your face as well. Allow your spine to lift and your shoulders to soften. And soften your belly as you continue settling in. Breathe in. Pause. And breathe out. And let's meditate on bringing awareness to our perceptions. The nature of all existence is impermanent. All conditions are brought into existence from the destruction of a previous condition. All thoughts arise from a previous thought. All objects arise from a previous object. Thoughts and objects exist for a time and then cease to exist. There are no exceptions to this. Breathe in. Pause. And breathe out. Holding on to impermanent thoughts and conditions as permanent clouds our perception of reality. Cloudy perceptions result in poor judgment of ourselves and others. Poor judgment results in increased suffering. Breathe in. Pause. Breathe out. Clear understanding of impermanence brings about a clear perception of reality. A clear perception of reality eases suffering for all living beings. Go ahead and begin to open your eyes and to slowly reorientate your surroundings before you stand up. Very nice. Yeah, how we perceive the world and our understanding of it really influences and dictates our actions, right? Our mental formations, our mental conditions, and understanding impermanence, the illusionary experience that really is around us, and taking it for granted increases suffering. And that's not to say that, this phone is an illusion. I'm certainly holding it, right? It's there. It's made out of whatever it's made out of, wood, I suppose, for the case, or this cup, right? It's a real cup. So when we're talking about illusionary, we're really talking about our perceptions and judgments of existence. And those perceptions and judgments influence significantly how we respond and react to myriad situations that we encounter daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, and so forth. And so the Buddha describes the illusionary nature of our existence. He states, we live in illusion and the appearance of things. There is a reality, and we are that reality. And when you understand this, you see that you are nothing. And being nothing, you are everything. And this will certainly tie into our topic tonight, right? Of Buddhism and in the Matrix. That sense of emptiness, that sense of nothingness, because it's not what we imply it to be, right? You are everything. So that ties in and it brings about the whole nature of impermanence, conditions, right? Conditions arise and they arise from something else. Nothing is created from nothing. And that's, not just physical objects, right? That's also our thoughts. So a table, right, isn't just a table, right? If we take it apart, or if we get a new table, for example, and we have to put it together, it comes in all the different pieces. And it may say table on the outside box, but it's not quite a table until we create some conditions. We attach the legs, we screw them on, all the pieces that may come in that box, we assemble them. We create that table. After some time, that table disappears, right? It's no longer in existence. That is impermanence. But when we look at The Matrix, right? Fun movie, right? Fun, really interesting to explore. But when we look at it, one of the very first realities that we encounter is that machine world, right? One that the character, right, Mr. Anderson or Neo, in the film, played by Keanu Reeves, but that machine world is everywhere. It is the existence, right? He goes to a job, other people go to jobs, they live their daily lives in total ignorance of what is really the nature of their reality. So that delusion is their reality. They're unable to distinguish the reality that they are seeing around them, driving through cars, daily lives, kind of just the same experiences that you and I, go through on a daily basis. Eating dinner, waking up, family, friends, movies, and so forth. But those machines are everywhere, right? They're everywhere, right? They're described as programs, right? Like Agent Smith. They're described as programs, but they're everywhere. So the machine world in the Matrix is the delusion, the defiled mental acuteness of what reality really is. But then if you've seen it, you've also, hopefully I'm not letting out any spoilers, but you see that the humans are in those cocoons, right? Those little battery pods, whatever, that they use, as the machines use to generate, right, that delusion of existence for those people. So think about that. We have those two different worlds, but yet existing almost together, almost simultaneously, but with neither one being aware of the other. It's interesting to think about it, right? It's interesting. But then as the movie unfolds, right, Morpheus, right, the teacher for Neo, reveals himself and to Neo and brings him to the other character called the Oracle, right? If we look at the Oracle, what is, she's a program in this universe as well, but she is there to interpret the aspects of the human psyche, right? The human mental condition. That is very much like the Dharma. It describes, right, the mental conditions, right, that we all have, that we all face. And that's not all of it. That's only some, right? That's the Dhammapada. But understanding the human psyche, the human mindsets, the human desires and conditions, and the wants and the needs and so forth. That's what the Oracle represents. You may even extrapolate a little bit further and consider the Oracle as a Buddha, right? As a teacher, as spreading that knowledge of enlightenment, the duality between that machine world and those humans living in the cocoons, right? And so some of the themes that we see in the Matrix, even in that one scene right before Neo is about to visit with the Oracle. Remember, he's sitting there with that little boy and they're bending the spoons and so forth. And Neo is asking, how are you able to bend the spoon? Like what's going on here? How is that even possible? And the child character replies, first you have to ask yourself, is that spoon even here? I mean, that's pretty profound, right? Does that spoon even exist in the first place? Even though I'm holding this phone, does it exist in the first place? Right? And that goes to impermanence, right? Things arise, they are there for a little bit, and they disappear. So is it even there in the first place? It's a pretty interesting concept if you think about it. I think one of the characters, other than, you know, Morpheus and Neo and Agent Smith, all those exciting action character guys, I think one of the really interesting characters that present themselves in the movie is Cypher. So remember Cypher, he's the one that is maybe giving away these humans positions and so forth. And he has a meeting with Agent Smith, that one program, right? Asking for his rebirth, right? Remembering that rebirth is samsara, right? Our continued cycle of rebirth of suffering. But perhaps remember what Cypher tells Agent Smith. I want to be reborn or brought back into the matrix and not remember anything. I don't want to remember any of these activities. I don't want to remember you. I don't remember Neo, Trinity, all the other characters, any of those events that transpired. He had the opportunity for enlightenment, right? To leave that matrix system, that delusion, right? That imaginary world that was designed by the machines. He had the opportunity, knew that enlightenment, that freedom was right there, but yet chose to be reborn back into ignorance, back into the delusion. And I think that's a very important aspect that the Buddha teaches us. So many ways, the path, right? That noble eightfold path to liberation, to releasing ourselves from samsara, right? The continued cycle of suffering. Those teachings are there, right? Just pick them up, read them, study them, sit here with us and whatnot, or others. Like go to the pagoda, talk with the monks and so forth. But realizing that this is samsara, but then Cypher wanting to be reborn back into suffering, back into that ignorance, back into delusion. I think he's probably one of the most interesting characters out there, given all that he knows, all of the information, all of the, everything that has transpired. He was choosing to go back into ignorance, back into suffering. And then again, throughout the whole movie, right, we've got Neo doing his thing, right, with all the cool special effects and everything. But in that one of the last scenes when he is fighting with Agent Smith, right, and Neo is empty, right, from his bullets and whatnot. Agent Smith tells him, "You are empty." But then Neo replies, "So are you." So understanding that emptiness, he was empty. Neo was empty of the conditions of that machine world. So think about that. All of those, whatever that machine world provided, right, whatever career it was, whatever food he ate, relationships, he had or whatnot, the conditions that he imposed on himself, that Ego imposed on himself as a result of what he was experiencing in that world, he became empty of it. He realized who he was. Like the one, I guess. Whatever. I forget what they call him now. So Buddhism is very well prevalent in the Matrix, right? It's a fun series, and there's more they talk about, as well. Talking about Zion and so forth. We could think about that as a different realm as well, but there's maybe other interpretations, as in some of these scenes and whatnot. But it's really fun to think about, and just fun to kind of explore and see how others may incorporate different philosophies into our cinematic entertainment, and maybe delving deeper instead of just taking what's presented on the screen or in a book or everyday life, examining it a little bit more with a different perspective, right? Without our own judgments. Because our own judgments influence how we perceive, and then how we perceive, how we act. And knowing that everything is impermanent, and that when we embody emptiness inside of us, we are releasing all of those conditions, not emptiness as in loneliness and despair and so forth, but empty of those preconditions, those preconceptions, empty of those judgments of others. Letting go of those cloudy, those foggy viewpoints or scratched up lenses on your glasses or whatnot, so we can see the world clearly. And when we're able to do that, we're able to spread joy, ease suffering, create a more balanced and harmonious world for all of us. And it starts with us. And remembering that we all want, doesn't matter who we are, where they are, or anyone, all living beings want to live a peaceful, stress-free, and a happy, harmonious life. And by us removing our judgments and preconceptions and perhaps even cultural perceptions towards others, will help instill that. And that's what the Buddha teaches. I'd be interested in knowing what your thoughts are on this. I'm sure there's a lot of interpretations and so forth in this movie that are certainly welcome to discuss. And so let us know in the comments below. I think it'll be fun to engage on this one as well. Our next talk is on April 29th, which is also a Monday, right? That's 6 p.m. and we're talking about removing the conditions of our lives, which ties into this, right? Ties into that tonight's topic as well. So we'll end with the 3 jewels as well. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. Sathu, Sathu, Sathu. Many blessings to you all, and I greatly appreciate all of your kind attention and your comments and just your presence being here with us this evening or even on a future replay. Many blessings to you all, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.